Hello everyone, it's Thursday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies. Hello.
Good morning.
Nima Akasha Zibiri, are you all right this morning?
Very good.
You just seem to be looking a bit dull.
I'm in that reflection mood. I'm thanking God for a lot of things.
Okay, good to know. Let me start with Mariam now. Mariam, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm not in a reflective mood. I'm in that celebratory mood.
Oh, nice.
No, just that I'm awake and I'm alive.
Okay.
But I got this book. I think I mentioned it once before. The author gave it to me. I met her somewhere, called Raising Smart Kids. And I had the chance to read it yesterday. And I was really blown away because it's such a tiny book. And the way she was able to just put concisely everything that you need to know from when you give birth to your baby to the decisions you make for them as per schools and what they should do and things like that. Really small, just like an instruction manual, I would call it. And for me, I've been struggling because I have two kids. My kids are in different schools. And I wanted to move the younger one to her older brother's school. And to tell the truth, for most of the reason why I wanted to do that is because his school seems like the fancier school, the big pool, the white proprietress, and things like that. And she was able to give like a checklist when you're looking at schools. There are things you should, the questions that are important. And I realized my daughter's in a perfect school, probably even better than this fancy school, you know. So
that's
yeah,
nice. Fantastic.
It's good. So I said I was going to get one for every one of us.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Nice. Akasha Zibiri.
Okay, so I just need to put it out there that we were at the a meeting with the PS of the Ministry of Energy and something in Lagos State on behalf of Satellite Town and environs. It wasn't supposed to come out public, but they visited Satellite Town yesterday. And from that Friday to yesterday morning, there was sanity. But in the afternoon, I just drove past to my children's school, picked them up, and I came back to the worst, craziest situation. So we keep complaining that what we need is logistics. The tank farms are here, but let's have them work like sane people. The tanker drivers and the tank depot operators are an entirely bunch of crazy people. Because how do you hold other people to ransom? They can't get their children. I'm stuck in traffic with my children in such inflammable situation. You can only imagine what is going through my head. I'm going crazy wondering, why is this idiot blocking the road? Why is he there? Why can't we just pass? And then we're struggling in our cars with bikes. On Monday, my son was on a bike with me. I had parked and took a bike to pick him up. And the boy was trying to see what was under the trucks. You can only imagine such chaotic situation where we live in. And when we talk and people are there wondering, if we should calm down, don't be agitated, can we just have a normal conversation? You can have a normal conversation with abnormal people. Definitely. Yesterday, I was to the point of parking in front of the truck and saying, okay, just bash this car. Who could take the car so that we all, at least we know you're crazy and we're all crazy. So I had to make a call, and forcing myself to have a normal conversation is difficult.
So why are you having a conversation with the PS? Why not the actual minister?
The commissioner invited, and he should deal with us on his behalf. And we're hoping that, they get task force there.
We need to get you an appointment with the governor.
I need one. I need one desperately.
You need to face Governor Sanwo-Olu one-on-one
on my face.
and have this conversation.
I
need
to
get that for you.
Desperately. And the CDA, thank you to all of them, Governor and his team. They're doing such an amazing work. They come out every time to protest. They're willing to go. They've been to the DSS. They've been to there's no ministry. The community is taking it on.
Unfortunately, we can't take any more of that, but definitely we need to get you to the helmsman so that you can really convey. Because sometimes it's almost as if he doesn't get the real picture.
The real picture.
So once you get that opportunity. Talk about how are you?
I'm good. I didn't plan to be on the show today.
Oh, that's true.
Couldn't make it, so I'm here, and I was putting together my questions, and I was trying to. I watch a lot of international interviews, and I see the way they read the profile, the way they script it, and I never thought I could do it. So I spent yesterday reading research about Bukky George, and I've written my scripts and 10 questions I want to ask her. And when I showed my husband was like, okay, now I see why you're watching Tom Billieu, because like this sounds like him. So sometimes we assimilate these people that we spend time with all the time, and I feel really, really good about Saturday, Nigeria Brand Chick Trade Fair, and I'm going to be there moderating a panel. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Nice.
I've never been this prepared because I'm so excited. Like, over-excitement is worrying me.
You don't know how excited I am for you because of the panelists and everything. I'm really excited.
I'm hearing for the first time. I have no idea what's...
Oh, okay, you've not been... You know you're not online, but I'll send it to you.
So it's online.
You're not online.
Okay, so yesterday I heard about a meeting with the all electricity consumers and all the stakeholders. I just heard about it in the radio. I said I had to be there because I need to be fireworks. There was Ikeja Disco, Ibadan Disco, the Eco Disco, Genco was there, transmission company was there. Everybody came in one room. I was like, this is the place I must be. I got there and of course, as expected, the fireworks happened. People were not willing to listen. I could see that they had things to say. That's the representatives. But the Nigerians just have their own issues.
Frustrations.
And if we don't understand that, listen, it takes two to tango. You have to listen to what the challenges are and how do we make it, find a middle ground. I think what I get from the entire thing is that they all need proper customer service relations because you need to be able to convey the
That's
issues.
one thing Eco Disco has.
They lack that, especially in the Ikeja Disco.
Eco Disco
They
has.
don't
You
have
must treat your customers with respect, make them understand what you're going through, and then make them feel like you are taking their money. So you owe them explanations.
I think
But
they don't, when they train those representatives, they don't have any idea that customers are your clients.
Yeah.
They pay you.
I think we need a show where we're going to bring all those stakeholders on your view. Have them with our audience and have a conversation.
And our viewers actually like this
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Let's go on a break. We've taken too much time. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Right, let's start with the punch. $9.6 billion judgment. PNID says no negotiations. UK legal battle resumes today. Ogun worker rapes colleague to death, keeps corpse. FG awards Ibadan Ife road contract orders for 311 billion naira. Ganduje spokesman under fire for calling Osinbajo VP academic. Ondo dispatches team to probe 36 cows' death. FG declares Tuesday Independence Day holiday. Shorem meets bail condition, awaits release. Presidential Tribunal, NBC, accuses AIT of deliberate mischief. FG proposes 9.12 trillion banana budget. Presidency, why Buhari answered question from prepared speech. And I'll waive immunity, clear my name on the 9 billion naira poll fund. We'll talk about Shivaji a bit later. Let's start with the human interest story. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a really sad story. A 27-year-old Eniola Adenuga has been remanded, and it's because he allegedly raped a 21-year-old girl called Faith Jude in Ogun State and kept her corpse in his house for 3 days. But the twist to this story is that he goes to the police station and he reports to the police station that he found this body in front of his shop. But meanwhile, after further investigation, the police realized that he was the one that raped her, kept her corpse in his house, and because of the smell, he couldn't hide it anymore. He put it outside and then came and acted as if he had nothing to do with it. Really sad.
Very sad.
The major headline, PNID says no negotiations. UK legal battle resumes today. Who has that story?
Yeah, so you know we're in court now, and Nigeria, today the court will be determining all our applications. We've gone to court to of course, contest the judgment that the commercial court had upheld, the resolution of the arbitration that made Nigeria liable to pay over 9 million. But Nigeria is also requesting that the Irish company involved, the name of the man and his son who own this company, that they be repatriated here to face prosecution. We've been able to find out all their allies in Nigeria, and they've all admitted guilt. So we have a tight case here, and we're hoping that they get them here so that we have a proper judgment.
The man is dead, but his son definitely will face charges.
The names are already in the paper.
But I know that Punch actually sent a mail to them, their representatives in the UK, to find out if the negotiations are still on. And they said nothing like that has happened, and any story on negotiation is false. Obviously, we're waiting for today's
Do you
judgment.
get the presidency reply?
Why he answered question for? No, I didn't read that.
That video trending yesterday is very dangerous and damaging.
What? Please tell. Did you?
What was the video about?
So there's a video at the UN General Assembly. What was her name? I think the president of the World Bank presently was moderating, and she asked a question about Nigerians' youth population and what the president plans to do with that youth, whether we had a good future or something. I think not verbatim, the plan that he had. But he then moved to a prepared speech, and the speech was on climate change. So that video was trending.
That's the video, but we don't know that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So now the president has not given feedback.
handlers put that video on Twitter, unfortunately. That's how people found it. So they found that the source was credible, but then they now had to do a retraction saying, trying to defend how it happened, saying that the...
So nobody read that story?
I didn't know.
Let me let you read it while we go through the other people's.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's move on. Check it in Punch. The article is in Punch. Let somebody else take it. Let's find out what the people are saying. Moving on now to The Nation. Storm grows over closure of Nigeria's land borders. FG to spend 2.45 trillion on debt servicing in 2020. Kidnap suspect open fire on vehicles. Oshibajo takes on accusers. Firms linked to APNID withdrew actually $700,000 cash. Okay, I don't know about that story. So you see the Senate is
on
totally
this
objecting
border
to
closure
border closure.
I don't understand Nigerians' objection to it, but I live close to the border, and I must say to you, smuggling has continued. I've seen Okada and rice pass me, but the smuggling is why there's a pestful, or is it pesticide kind of relationship between Nigeria and the ECOWAS countries bordering around us, and it's costing us, yes, parasitic. So it's costing us a lot. The smuggling of petroleum products for which we paid subsidy, that's a statement of fact. The former CBN governor, who is presently Emir of Kano, kept mentioning how we will pay for subsidy, but the products end up where subsidy is not being paid. And I see the entire border closure thing as very laudable. If we can only
But let me tell you the point the senators were trying to make. According to the group, I think Senator Soswan, among others, led by Moro, yes. A former minister saying that there are 87 official borders, 1,900 unofficial borders. And that the implication of border closure was that the Nigerian Customs Service, the Immigration Services and National Boundary Commission have all failed in their responsibilities. So what they're trying to say is that if you do your job, you will not need to close the borders.
That was
they're good. There are four of them together.
Abba Moro led that statement is quoted. I'm quoting Abba Moro now, former Minister for Immigration. Remember the popular one? And he was saying that statement that we have 97 legal borders and we have 1,900 illegal ones, and that you cannot stop smuggling. He's simply saying that the agencies have failed. But that's him. He once had a chance at it. What did he do? But then the Senate, at the end of the day, resolved to support the president's move on border closure after all the deliberations.
Yeah, go ahead.
For me, the challenge is that smuggling isn't a career path, and smuggling is crippling our economy. So that's on one side. However, closing the border is also costing multiple businesses the funds that they need to make. So we must find a right balance. And the inefficiency of the custom officials shouldn't become our own suffering, because right now prices have gone up.
Many grounds to cover. Nigerian Tribune, Oshibajo talks tough, ready to waive immunity. Buhari transmits 3-year fiscal plan to National Assembly, proposes 9.79 trillion naira for 2020. I have freed about 420 hostages from bandits without ransom, says Zamfara governor. Many killed as suspected kidnappers attack Abuja-bound bus in Kogi. Let's take one more story. I used to be a cart pusher, once dropped out of school, says Adegboro as SAN. Let's talk about our vice president.
So our vice president has been facing a lot of allegations following some shake-up that happened within the presidential villa, specifically a man called, he's the former Deputy National Secretary, Publicity Secretary for APC, Mr. Timi Frank, made allegations against the Vice President that he funded his, that he funded his campaign with funds made from FIRS, gotten from FIRS, 90 billion in total. So the VP has said is instituting a case against these two persons that have their names attached to this false allegation, according to him. And he is waiving his immunity to enable proper investigations.
Two things. It's the office that has immunity, not him. So maybe he has to resign or, take a break from office to lose that immunity. He can't waive it. It's either, yes, he has to leave the office. That's one. I think I've read over that one, the judgments.
And the second one?
Yes. And the second one, this is amazing what he's doing. So usually you get the DSS, pick up these guys for running their mouth, but he is willing to sue them for defamation. The social intervention programs is what they linked to this 90 billion naira, and he was in charge of it. The anchor borrowers, all the school intervention and all that, those monies that were flying around during the election. The other party were saying this is what they used to fund the elections, and then they come
and in addition to that, Vanguard has actually retracted.
Because Vanguard carried the interview where these guys took.
Vanguard has retracted
that.
There was
a picture story. Can we take that
in
right
Tribune?
Now?
Yes.
Kidnappers laid siege on cars coming to Abuja, and this particular one coming from Port Harcourt. They said the car was shot at, the driver, the tire was shot. The driver as well was shot in the shoulder.
And many killed.
There were so many killed. The police say that when the car was shot, it somersaulted and caused the lives of so many people. These people were dressed in military camouflage. So at first, the people that first ran into them didn't know who they were. and all those that were trying to also turn back because they realized that they were kidnappers got in all sorts of injury. Obviously, we need to do something about our security within our...
Yeah, quick info, Zamfara. Good news from Zamfara. Governor saying that he was giving a report at the UN General Assembly sideline, talking to reporters, saying that the discussions with bandits has been fruitful in that they've been able to get 420 hostages released without paying any ransom for them just by negotiating with them, and that has been a success because people are castigating, talking to bandits.
Run out of time. Daily Sun senators reject border closure. Unpaid salaries. ASU threatens to disrupt exams, academic activities in Laute. Who has that story? ASU?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on now. So the Vanguard. ISWAP beheads aid worker, blames action on federal government. Southwest Labour leaders reject partial minimum wage. Let's talk about the ISWAP. Who has that story?
ISWAP beheaded, according to Ahmed Talkida, the popular Boko Haram negotiator, this one that has a link. On his Twitter page yesterday, confirmed that one of the hostages, taking 6 of them, one of them was murdered yesterday, shot at close range. And he sent a blood video of that on his Twitter page, saying that, the ISWAP is blaming government for not sincerely negotiating with them. So they were meeting with them, but they were not sincere. And they had needed to send a strong message, which they used in killing one of the person. Humanitarian, an international NGO, helping, I think, Africa Against Hunger or something. I think that's what...
Action Against Hunger.
Action Against Hunger. One of their group members were killed. And the NGO is based in France. One of the officials also confirmed that, their member had been killed.
Okay. The Guardian, picture story, DJ Cuppy at the New York Stock Exchange, opening bell alongside the Vice President. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Good to be the daughter of a rich man.
It's good.
You have access.
Is that the only reason she's there?
What's
she's a DJ and musician.
Let's speak one more story, Jerry. Ndukuba is the new Anglican primate of Nigeria. Many fell killed as kidnappers lay siege in Lokoja, Abuja Road. Hope rises as 2020 budget Buhari submits to MTEF and to the Senate. This day, final paper, Nigeria seeks extraction of PNID founder's son, co-founder, for trial. And NICOM okays 26 insurance firms' recapitalization plans. Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, it's Thursday. Open our phone lines to gist all the way. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. The story caught our attention on social media about a female employer who insists that wives must get recommendations from their husbands and single women must get theirs from their fathers before they are employed in her organization. Now, this story trended. Everybody was talking about it, and we thought, let's discuss it on Your View and see your own views on this. You can call us on 070-806-68014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag Your View TVC so we can read your tweet. First of all, let's analyze what's going through the mind of this employer, saying that if you're female, if you're a wife, you have to get permission from a husband. If you're a single lady, you have to get permission from your father before you're employed. What could be going through her mind?
As an employer, I totally agree.
Oh, you agree with her?
Yes.
Okay.
Surprisingly, when we discussed it, and I said I agreed during the pre-production meeting, everybody was like, no, BC was on my case. And I said, I agree because I realized that you have people that would call you in the morning and say, my daddy is not feeling fine. He said I should go and buy drugs for him. And I'm like, does your daddy know you are working? Does your dad knows that you have responsibilities and people waiting for you at work? Maybe we should have discussed this with your dad before you got employed. And then he says, but daddy says the salary I paid is not even covering my bills anyway, so I'm just doing the work for... So I'm saying the quality of conversation I have with young people today who are looking for employment, I am forced to start ticking such questionnaires too. And though it might come across as, oh, you're just, what are you doing? What doesn't make sense? How can you say you should get permission from the person's father? But I have heard young people that seem not to have it all together in being able to make decisions by themselves and blame their dad for maybe their inefficiency, but at least if I have the dad's cooperation, in getting the girl to work, because I
So
do
it's the
deal
bigger
with...
question of millennials, because I have that problem. I seriously have that problem with millennials. In fact, it's a major issue because you constantly have to keep telling them something over and over again. But let me hear your thoughts on this.
Okay.
In your mind,
Yeah.
what do you think the employer was thinking, and do you agree with her?
Okay, so I thought that when I come here, everybody will be against that. And so I prepared my mind to sort of be like devil's advocate. So I'm quite surprised to see Tokwe taking this side. Because for me, I tried to read after that initial message. So she was responding to people, and she said that what she actually is asking for is like a guarantor. And a woman is married to a man, so of course, your husband. So she was not being, what's the word now?
Sexist?
Yeah, so she wasn't being that, or she didn't mean that the woman is not empowered enough to take position, but she needs someone that you can trust to be a guarantor. So where, especially with what she was going, the person is going to be dealing with. So who can you trust that? Aside from the wife, is the husband. And she said for the single ladies, she didn't only say father, she said clergy or someone else. So it could be a female as well. But for me, I just thought I think it was an afterthought, because really, for me, it came across as if she did not think that women were, even though she was doing one thing right, which is she was insisting on getting a female worker. So she had put the gender on that. And my argument at first was like, wouldn't it be double standard if we say if a man was asking for people to apply for a job and insisted it was just a man who would have come
for him.
At that person. But she was asking for a woman. But obviously, she also sort of understood the Nigerian society, which is sometimes women are unable to work. Sometimes women are unable to do things because they have a husband at home who doesn't want them to go out to work, or who, as the example you gave, who would say, well, but my husband said I cannot come because of my children.
If you don't want to come across as sexist, hang on, if you don't want to come across as sexist, maybe a better approach is like, give me a guarantor. Don't tell me it has to be your husband. It could be anybody. The guarantor could be your former employer. It could be somebody you could be a female pastor. It could be anybody.
But HR companies actually do that. They specify really who you should bring.
Some people keep
they specify who you should give as guarantor.
You tell me who your guarantor is. You specifying that it has to be your husband. You're already coming across as sexist.
So,
you're telling me that only a man can be a guarantor, because on the other side, a single girl, you're now saying the father. Must it be the father? Could have been the mother. Let me come to what are your thoughts on this?
Trying to understand her, because you shouldn't restrict or specify what the person wants. But I was trying to play the devil's advocate again to understand her, in the sense that people easily always get referral that they don't even know well. You would like, I'm not talking guarantor now, references in your CVs or anything to get a job should be someone who knows you well, someone you have a relationship with, someone who can truly assess you and access you, both. So you don't want people some people will just put there, use your clergy in the church, someone you think is big and everything, and the person really doesn't know you. So if the company wants to, maybe the sort of job that you do is one that you need someone you can easily find. In some companies, there's a disclaimer once they employ, you cannot refer anybody from that company to get a job with another company, and bankers are clearly affected. So they are not referenced to anybody's job-seeking wahala. So you have to go and find someone, and she's looking at, okay, fine, don't go far, look within home. Find someone close to you who can refer you. And your closest person, if you're married, should of course be your next of kin.
But would an employer...
I don't like the way this conversation is going.
Would an employer ask a man to bring his wife's guarantor?
Exactly, Murayo. That's the unfairness of our society, in that... And I was listening to a podcast this morning precisely on this thing, that we give the benefit of doubt to people, and we choose those people we give it to based on what we're used to. People give benefit of doubt to you if you sound British, because it comes across like maybe you're refined and you're more educated. We give benefit of doubt to men because it comes across like they're more responsible, or they have authority. We give this benefit of doubt to people that we believe in, even when to celebrities. Celebrities will get loan and they will get credits on many things easily just because they are known. So we give this benefit of doubt to some...
Or they are reachable, you can find them.
We give benefit of doubt to some people, and women are on the receiving end of, she might default, she might not come, she might not be responsible, she might run away, she might get pregnant, she might, all of that. And women are at the receiving end. Men don't have to go through it. For women to achieve a minimum success level, they would have to do times 10 of what the opposite sex does.
Let me take this call from Laja. Laja, good morning. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
When somebody wants to employ people into an organization, don't they ask for references?
They do.
They would.
Usually.
They do now.
Yes.
And that person is in their list. And if you want to know anything about, you must insist. I think what we need to do is we must insist that yes, that person, like one of you said there, that it must be somebody who knows you very well, because there is no point having somebody you refer to who does not know you but is a big man. No, I don't think that is proper.
Thank you very much. References are a given. We've agreed that you need references. What we're asking is you specifying as an employer that a married woman should get that reference from her husband, or a single girl should get that reference from her father. That's where the dispute is. Is that appropriate?
See, I think that the responders or people who commented were just quick to jump on something and term it what it wasn't. I think her intention was different. But the part that she put the single person, if she had put the single person could get references from a mother or an auntie, you know, then it would have cleared it. But she explained, she says a clergy person could be a woman, so she's not necessarily saying that. But let us be realistic. For majority of Nigerian women who are at home, you would find conversation when you sit down with them, but my husband did not agree, or I have to speak to my husband first. And
so that's the
for
reality.
me, that is a reality. So for me, especially as she said, I want to give this job to a woman, she may have thought it through. You know, it's one thing to say I want to give a job to a woman, and then you don't understand the dynamics of getting a woman to come to work with.
So what circumstances does an employer have? Let's talk about those kind of nature. But let me take this call from Hassan first. Hassan, are you there? Sorry, we lost that call. What are the various circumstances? For example, a flight attendant or somebody who has to work late night shifts. In that kind of situation, is your husband okay with you staying till 10 p.m.?
So if he was your guarantor or reference in this referee in this case, he settles that. So you don't come to work and have a situation like Tokpe says she has on her hands a lot of times. My husband did not agree. And women face these issues a lot. I'm dealing with a woman presently who's not worked for a long time because her husband, the first thing he did was to get her to accept not to work. And then now he's saying, I don't think she can work in any establishment. I don't think she can. And this woman is just wondering, who told you I cannot? Do you understand? You don't want to force yourself into a job and you constantly come home to an unhappy home.
So let's deal with the underlying issues.
Yes.
So Murayo, beyond, yes, this lady's comment is a reflection of the societal challenge women are going through. The fact that women have to seek a male permission, even though we are not in that society officially. You know, in our society, women are independent, but are we really independent? Are we really free to do what we want to do? Are we allowed to live the kind of life we want to? A single girl is advised not to have a car because she will look too bold, she will look too strong to be married, to be marriable. She will look too independent. So the real issues on the ground is that we still treat women as second class and lower people as compared to the men. And until we deal with that issue and create equal opportunity for a woman to say that I want to work and rise to be the GMD of this bank, and there's nothing holding me back, I don't need to get my husband's permission, I can simply discuss with my husband that, guy, this is the goal, I want to do this, and I can. And then he will allow me. He's not going to tell me that, oh, you have to take care of the children. Who will not take the children from school? You know, we have that kind of conversation. Women is the responsible woman that if you strive for your career, who will take the children to school? Who will monitor their homework? Who would check on them? You know, like, that is a woman's job, and we need to redefine this thing so that we can allow women be all that they can possibly be.
Fantastic. And I think that really should be the message that, you know, women can be trusted to take,
in that, there's still a conversation.
Yes, women can be trusted to take responsibility, to chase their jobs, to chase their dreams. But it also reminded me, recently, there's a person I follow, she does workouts, she's a fitness trainer. And recently she posted a video and she was saying, well, I'm sorry guys, you haven't seen me a lot. You know, now I'm married. And I was like, hello. So how does that change it? Meanwhile, there's another one I follow, an Oyinbo counterpart, which is, oh, I'm so happy that I'm married now and I have the extra support of my husband. And I'm like, can you imagine two people in the same industry, but different countries and different realities? The thing is that our reality seems to be that the patriarchy, you know, it's, I mean, that's our problem.
This final call. Good morning, are you there? Hello, thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
All right. Tokpe, I quite disagree with you this morning. that women are meant to submit to their husband. Okay? They are meant to be responsible to their husband. Okay, so if the woman is asking for a reference from your husband, I think it's genuine. It is an African model. This feminism thing is not African. And check all those countries where they practice this feminism. They have high rates of divorce. First time caller.
Thank you, Shay.
Welcome to the show.
Nobody has discussed feminism here. We've not even said that word. And the assumption that once you start talking about women and women rights or emancipation, suddenly you're talking about feminism, and that's totally wrong. And I always try to redefine and redefine what feminism is.
Sheye. So Sheye is thinking women abandon homes, they no longer submit to their husbands when they push for their careers, or they have their own dreams individually, aside from their marriage. That's wrong. A woman who submits to her, okay, you want to...
I'm just going to break. When I come back, we'll help Sheye understand the difference between feminism and empowering women. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So the last caller obviously gave us something to talk about concerning the issue of feminism. And I always like to use this opportunity to continually say that the definition Nigerians have of feminism is totally different. Feminism is asking for gender equality. They're not demanding equality within the home or saying that, oh, a husband and wife there is no leadership in the home. Yes, as a human being, you are equal as a person to person, but the roles of husband and wife are not equal, such that leadership, the man always is the leader and the wife obviously is the co-partner. Now, but people always assume that when they talk about feminism, we're saying that, no, women's rights, we're trying to overpower the men in our society. That's not exactly. What we're just saying is that a girl child is equal to a male child, a boy child. Now, going to the issue at hand.
And a man and a woman in a marriage are co-operators in that marriage, co-decision makers as it concerns their children, their lives.
Yes.
One person's life should not die or put at a standstill because of another's life. So if the two people's life are flying, it doesn't stop one from saying, you are my husband.
Yes.
What are we going to do? Okay,
lead.
Doesn't stop. And in some marriages, some men are magnanimous to say, I cannot lead. Madam, you have the expertise and foresight, you lead. Area. And it does, like I said to someone,
doesn't take away from the man.
Every man kneels to their wife in their corners of their home. Now who talk in your own? Yes. Now who tell you in your own? What works for everybody is individual. What works is not a general rule.
Okay, so on this aside, being that it's different from what we're talking about, is an aside, if we study how pilots work, and how you have the main pilot and you have the first in command, and how if you as a pilot refuse to take the help of the first in command beside you, you are going to likely crash a plane the person's help is vital to you. So. It doesn't stop you from being the main captain of that, being the pilot, but
we are not discussing
you must get.
Whose duty it is to breastfeed, carry belly. Those ones are biological. When we come down there, that's not what we're discussing. We've seen where women's lives are ruined. 5, 15, 20 years down the line, the woman is wondering, how did I get here? Because you allow someone who cannot even see his nose to lead you. So you should be able to stand and say, this thing is not working.
Thanks for calling. Are you there?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, some issues I would like us to clarify here. As much as we are trying to separate feminism from this issue, I would take my personal experience as an example. I decided to set off from my paid employment and become self-employed when I was about getting married because I wanted to pay attention to raising our children and being there for them. And my wife took on a job after our first child, who happened to be a girl. And, raising a girl child, for me, there are some certain things I don't want to get involved in, especially when it has to be with the girl child. Like, for instance, taking a birth, paying
paying attention to some sensitive part of her body. Being a man, I feel it's not right for me to pay attention to those things because it might tantamount to some form of abuse or the other. So I would need the mother to do that. But I noticed that because she's working, and that's been an issue because these children are lacking that attention in those areas because of our 8 to 5 appointment.
Is it innate in her to give that attention, or you're unable to do it since you have more free time?
Because of the gender of our child, mark my word, the gender of our child, as it being they are boys, I can do all sorts of, I'm a guy too, so I wouldn't be feeling bad touching on their private parts or feeling somehow it's not registering something good in them. That's by the way. Then secondly, Tope just mentioned about pilots and air hostess and all that. I've had to see a relative that was told not to give birth to a child for the first 2 years of employment because of that kind of nature of job. So there are some roles that are inherent in females because of their gender. I can breastfeed a child, so I would expect my wife to do that. And if she's on 5 to 9, 8 to 9 or 5, and she's not there to breastfeed, our children suffer breastfeeding because of her job. Because she had to.
Point taken. Yes.
Okay, so I think the caller is trying to say that a woman is the primary caregiver when it comes to like nurturing, breastfeeding, and as you said, the womb.
Gender roles.
Yes. So I think now the conversation is not really like what this person said, whether you should ask your husband. What if we put it the other way around? Would a man be asked to ever get a reference or referral from his wife? And to be honest, we know that that's not true. Would better receive a reference from a man if he took it from a former employer or colleague, male. And sometimes, I know that in our own little ways, like the way this man has said that he had to stay back to take care of family, I know that in our own little way, individually, we're doing, men are making sacrifices. Like when I go for PTA meetings now, I see more men than I used to see. So yes, we recognize that. But also we, as a society, we cannot deny that for some reason a man would be put in a particular position that a woman may have been before, and all of a sudden that man is getting more respect, more, even sort of, and then the company would even seem to be doing a lot more for that person than when a woman was in the same position. So the thing is, that's the society that we live in. And I think that woman thought it through the best way to make sure that woman still ends up getting a job, because in the end,
so we took it to the sexist part, the feminist part, but the part of modern day workers, young people, being absent from work or taking unapproved timeouts from work. The fact that for an employer to insist that you get your father that knows that you are here, or your parents to know that, listen, I'm guaranteeing that she's going to come to work. When I was going to work, they didn't need to get a guarantor for my father, for my husband, for my brother. I was responsible. I knew what my responsibilities were. And I did those responsibilities. So why is it today, young people, we can't trust them to do the job the way they're supposed to do it? Yeah. There's a major lacuna there.
Yes,
I'm yet to understand what caused it, because I didn't, even in my first ever employment after secondary school, I resumed at work at the right time. My parents didn't even have to tell me go to work. It was just the norm. But we have that problem, maybe parenting, maybe societal pressure, because when you talk to the average millennial now, the two top goals they want to achieve is I want to be rich and I want to be famous. And but if you had spoken to me as at when I was a teenager, those things didn't occur to me. So the difference in the goals of the average young person now is different. So
let me take this call.
They're not on the same wavelength.
Hello, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Hello.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. This contribution to the multi-wife questions from our spouse is something serious, actually. Because from my mom's standpoint, my dad is a soldier and my mom she's just like a worker somewhere. Let me just use that word. She doesn't really earn much, but my dad is always making it look like you must not work. But the money even sent to her for feeding is not that much. Now look at it from that standpoint. I don't understand. Why would you tell her not to work, but you're not giving her much money for feeding? Like, the money is sent home is not enough to feed we that we are at home. We are like 5 at home. It's not in Lagos with us. It's in another place in Nigeria, let me just say. So why wouldn't you allow her work?
Thank you very much, Jamila, because that's something that Nima deals with every time.
I need to quickly correct that, African women, they were submissive, and because of that, they didn't work. Even when our fathers were farmers, the people who tilled the soil were the women, because they had a load of children, up to 15 to feed. So you don't have to sit down somewhere and be waiting for a man to share the little he can get. You try as much as possible to get enough so your children are not lying down hungry. So those days, don't tell us women weren't working. These days, the injustice that I see clearly is that a man will tell a woman not to work and then tell you, I have lean resources. Do you want me to kill myself? When this woman could have used her, God gave everybody their intellect. She came to you willingly because she could reason and she thought it was time to marry. So don't curtail it and say, lock her up. All you are here to do is give birth to children. These children need future. Parenting is a lifetime thing. If you say when they are children, they need mother's attention. When they get to teenagers, they need mother's attention. By the time they marry, when they're born, they need mother's attention. So when exactly is the woman going to have a life?
Exactly.
Why not find a balance of that life now, starting from beginning? When you people are getting children, have a discussion. Madam, what life do you want to have? How do you balance these things? Couples should start to be open
real issue.
to it. Start to find that balance today.
Feminism is not the reason
that's not
we
feminism.
have
That's
divorce.
rationality. Be reasonable.
Feminism is not the reason we have a higher case of divorce. I think it's the lack of discussion concerning the issues women go through. The fact that we are evading the issue of feminism and the rise of feminism in society is why we are having more divorce. People are finding other ways out. But the average woman, especially in Africa, has been brought up to love the family, nurture her children. But she also wants to be a woman. So how do you find a balance? Men should have that conversation. Men should stop feeling threatened when a woman is succeeding.
Well, there's some women that would love to be professional housewife. I would love to be a professional housewife.
But I
would love to.
and you're flying everywhere.
I would love.
Moira does not know what it means. See, Moira, talk to me.
No, what I'm saying is that, you see, a professional housewife where you, because I saw a professional housewife growing up, and I still know this woman till tomorrow. The woman is glowing. Trust me. For me, in my interest, I'll just wake up every morning and be a Beverly
housewife. You don't want to be a Mushin housewife, right?
Certainly.
It's about the money. So if there are resources, that's what we're talking about. So in a place where you are now a Mushin housewife and there's not enough resources, you would work, wouldn't you?
Because
so it's the money you're looking at. If everything is good, it's the comfort we're looking at.
Let me quickly share this story. So I met two men having a conversation, and it was in a public office discussing how, don't mind how all she thinks about is money. Whatever I give her is never enough. The moment she's doing something for the children, she starts to say, can't you see that I just paid their school fees? I just paid their school fees, so I just, bought them clothes, so I just this and that. The woman, of course, has to call your knowledge to it. Because, Oga, whether you like it or not, you have not met your responsibilities and you want to box her. The moment she's out of that difficulty, she has broken out. And she's able to go and find money, and she's done what you're supposed to do, you that you are demanding sit at home. Of course, she will call your guy. Have you noticed? I just paid school fees. It's not an insult. But they were painting it like women can be boastful, they're insulting and everything. I was just there in that office looking at them. 4 grown-up men having that conversation.
I would really like to hear from men this morning, because especially those that prefer their wives to stay at home, because it's important for us to understand their own side of the story. A lot of men grew up with their mothers available. And they saw the value in that, where mother was available for their dad, their parents, and also available for their siblings and themselves. So they want to replicate that in their own family. And that's why sometimes they insist that, listen, stay at home, we're earning enough. I'll pay you this amount of money for upkeep. And the woman is fine with it. So why are we discrediting that position?
To stay at home for most mothers where I saw growing up was their own. My mother particularly, once we started attaining a teenage age, she was like, my girls are turning teenagers. I need to be closer. She stopped work. She stopped her business. Let it be a personal decision. It's not a what we get now is I'm telling you, and there's
okay,
chaos
so like
in
for
the
me that I
marriage.
resigned, it was my own decision.
Yes.
It wasn't as if I was forced to.
Okay,
let me take this
the
call.
sacrifice you make is worth it.
Thanks for calling. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm online, ma.
Go ahead, please.
My contribution goes to whether a wife should consult the spouse before getting a the truth is that, like some of us who are married for about 14 to 15 years, we contributed for our wives' education. So I wonder why you invest on a woman
And say she
spend
should
so
do
much, and you refuse allowing her to go and work. It does not make any sense. You must not consult me because the woman is a helpful to a family. So I don't see any reasons why I can consult the wife, because there are some men some men are too jealous up to the point that even when their income is not enough to take care of the house, they will say, I want you to be a housewife. I want to place you on salary. No, it's not done that way. There are times in Nigeria today we are talking about gender equality. The right a man has to search for a job is the same right a woman has to search for a job.
Okay, thank you very much
God bless
for
you,
that.
Bassey.
My husband has a friend, a rich friend, and his wife isn't working, and the woman is content. She has breakfast in England, dinner in Japan. Like, she's all over the place. And the man he's a worker. He has no life but work. And he's just, all he does is send money to his wife and kids. And when you see them, you know that these ones are will. So don't a woman, don't you want that kind of a life?
No.
You don't.
I think there should be balance.
Very important.
I read a book about the greatest regrets people have, and this was from a nurse that took care of old people for almost 20 years, and she was always engaging them in their last days. And all of them, the one regret, not that they didn't make more money, was that they didn't spend enough time with family. And that's their major regret, that they did not invest in building relationships. So when I think of that, I realize that we misplace what is valuable. Yes, I want to make a lot of money, and I'm going to, but I mustn't, in the bid for that, lose my family or lose myself just because I want to achieve
So if a man is saying that you want to just let your children and family be pampered, in that situation, you might actually lose that relationship with your family. Because in this situation, I think the man is probably losing that relationship with his family. But the wife is engaged. No, she's engaged in other NGO stuff, like charity work and all that.
She might be losing. You know, you get used to habits, Abi, where something makes something. You just might get used to this life. God forbid an unexpected expectancy happens. Because we expect it, but we are always pushing it. It's not my face, it's not my fate, it's not my portion.
Life happens.
If that thing happens, most women like that never get, they're not usually resilient. This is a comfortable life you've enjoyed for years. Before you bounce back,
You know,
fantastic point.
It's our Nigerian thinking that today you may have the wealth, tomorrow you may not. There are some people that their billions is dug in gold bars, and so even if you fall, you may not. So the answer to the question is that I think that you should do what it is that you really want. And for some people, if that is your desire, I just want to be home and be a proper mom to my children, while my husband is able to take care of the rest of our needs. If that is exactly what you want, in the depth of your heart, then please go ahead. But I know a lot of people who seem to have everything and seem so discontent. It's like they want to do more.
Yeah, they're not fulfilled.
Yes, and the fact of saying that if you're so used to this lifestyle, you may not be able to do anything. I know some people who this lifestyle has created some sort of jobs for them, so they're able to do like luxury lines and things like that because
which work in Kardashian mother are you doing? Which work? I beg, let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll move on to another topic. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. Before we move on to the next question, let's take a few tweets. Mariam?
Yes, so we have many tweets here.
Take five.
Okay. Okay. Sean Louis says, I don't understand the reason for this discussion. An employer can choose her criteria for employment in her establishment as long as she's not breaking any law. By the way, all the presenters on Your View from day one are females. Okay. Mariah, I grew up seeing my mother working all her life. My dad insisted she attained to the top of her profession. This is Andrew in Streatham. And then Mr. PJ Comedian says, for me, this whole thing is all about agreements and understanding from both hubby and wife. Parenting should be flexible and interchangeable in roles. Aside things like breastfeeding, husbands can assist wives and vice versa. And Bros D says, this a twist to recruitment. I am an HR professional and I understand how tedious the process can be. Her post says she didn't require a CV, so it is more like an open book for the husband to sell the wife's skills. Who best to describe who you are, if not your spouse?
Wasn't it your husband that sent a message concerning you on the show? I think it was your husband.
He called on the show once.
I think when we're trying to do it, I can't remember in the audition, the areas. So he was when I was pushing.
It was my reference.
Yes, I remember that time. Yes.
Bilkis Mafe says feminism is always perceived from the angle of opposing male authority, like a power tussle, and it's not about that. It's about equity. Also, the public needs to be educated, as feminism comes in different forms and degree. It doesn't necessarily imply that women want to dominate. Nnam Samuel says, let's strike a balance. Women should never be treated as second-class citizens. But the truth is that as a woman, the primary caregiver, even in the Bible days, women take care of the things in the home. Call it patriarchy or anything. This is an ancient pattern.
Please let me read this tweet. I think you might find it interesting. Sorry, Tosi Omo Ajayi says, when my wife worked before, the manager required me, her husband, to sign for her in case money is missing. And I had to show him my pay slip before he employed my wife.
What?
So these things happen.
And maybe she would have to, pay back some monies that she's supposed to handle. So they want to be sure she's buoyant enough for maybe families. Oluwaseyi Dada says, I think the African nature is robbing us. Apart from employer asking for consent of husband, most embassies will also demand a letter of consent to travel from husband if the wife will travel. I have written such for my wife in each of her visa applications. That one is new.
Okay, let's access it. Let's move on to another topic. How should one cope when a spender marries somebody who likes to save? Where does striking the balance come in? So you can join the conversation again on 070-8066-8014. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourVTVC so we can read your tweets. So what we're asking is, if you're the kind of person that likes to spend, and you marry somebody that likes to keep and save, where do you strike that balance? And how do you prioritize what's important? Your thoughts on this, Mariam? Let me start with
Why
you.
Me?
Because you seem like you're ready for this topic.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I think I'm not sure. See, I think that if you marry a spender, if you're a spender and you marry a saver, then sort of you have, after all, they say...
That's the balance.
Let me start with my own story, because because maybe I'll say maybe because I lived in the US and I kind of worked also. So saving was almost part of me. I was literally saving every single thing from while I was in school up on. So even when I came home, I paid myself a salary from my own salary. And I put a certain chunk. So when I was getting married with money that I had saved. My mother was so impressed. I paid for things myself because she was shocked at how much money I had. Because I had that culture of saving.
Where did you learn it?
I don't know. I said,
my mom,
I guess I just learned it growing up. But my husband, initially, he was like, okay, let's just, Mariah, you're the finance person, do the thing. So we're both just handle everything. When money started coming, I realized, this guy likes to spend. He likes to flange. He just feels that, listen, man, I want to live one life. He was saying, I can spend X amount of money just to look at the settlement. And I'm wondering, bros, I won't buy that pair of shoes because I'd rather not. Well, my husband would buy it. He could buy 10 pairs. I like it. And he could buy 10 pairs. I like it and I buy 10 pairs. I'm
different colors.
My mother is like that too. My mother would buy one pair of shoes. She'll buy 20 pairs. The trivial colors you've never heard of. She'll have it, and she'll have it maximum 3 months. And she's tired. She's looking for another pair. I don't do that. I'd rather not. So when you have that kind of person, because my father too my father used to save.
That's way.
Now, how do you, as a person, marry both, where you want to spend, you feel like, listen, this money is supposed to spend. My mother says, Mariel, I am 70-something years old. I don't have any. I'm not giving anything for anybody. I'm spending my money. And she's there, traveling first class, going around. And to take it easy. But in your view, do you think it's right for you to spend that way? Or do you think it's appropriate for you to save?
I don't usually agree. I don't agree to a year's subscription to the satellite or cable TV in the house. Okay, I know you're watching. But that's the way he reasons. So why
pay for 1 year?
Why just pay for 1 year?
Isn't it?
Why pay for every time, every month? So no, if I could pay every month, I could decide 1 month that the quality of movies they've been showing, which they do all the time, is they are repeating them. I'm no longer paying. I could also punish the children and say this month no cable and no pay. But because their father have already subscribed for double view papa, the children are just loading it over me. So that's not the way I grew up. I plan things. And today, I must acknowledge that all those decisions to spend have actually been in my favor. I remember 2012 when my husband proposed that we do the alternative power in the house. He just walked into the house and said, I saw this thing somewhere. It's working like magic. And the first thing that came to my mind is that, so that everybody will start envying us on the street. I don't want that in my house. Let's do it small, small. You can still buy for, and the guy was just looking at me. The amount of money we're going to push at once was good. We're going to have to drink the Gary. And that's me, I don't want any situation where there's the Gary drinking. So I plan and every month is just fine. Right. But he plans and says, drink the Gary and everything is fine. 6 years after now, I'm balling.
So he's a disciplined spender.
So he's a disciplined spender. But he's someone who will look into the, if there's a bank in the house, empty it and do that thing.
Sometimes,
I won't empty and do that thing.
He's not a frivolous spender. Me, I overplan. I overplan so much that I had to work on my belief system that I've had a poverty, no, not poverty, I've had a scarcity, I have a scarcity mindset. Murayo, if I'm cooking, I will cook food and portion for the next day. I won't eat I'll eat like half meat and prepare the half meat that I'll eat the next, like I'm over. Like strange, I mean, Jebu to the
not a bastard.
You know, and my husband in the first quarter was like, you can't count meat into my mouth now. I'll tell him, I say, Mark, when I bought the 1 kilo of chicken, I cut it into 10 pieces. These 10 pieces
must last us for how many days?
So it was a tough battle. And I realized that we were definitely different people and we did not understand how to manage our finances. 9 years down the line, we are still struggling with the matter. Though I have relaxed a bit, you know, like if I cut the meat, I just say, oh, my husband, he went up eating like 10, so it's okay, let me just leave him alone. You know, but what I've learned and let's get serious, if you're married to a man who is a saver, it's better. There's always crisis when the woman wants to save and the man doesn't want to save. Like, if the man is the one saving and planning the future of the household, if the man is the one with
stingy man.
It will seem stingy in the beginning, but a woman cannot force the man into saving and planning.
There are women right now that are angry because they are men wanting to law. He doesn't give me money. But the man is there saving for the children's future. And she has a problem with that.
So that's why I said that if the man is saving, like in Nima's husband's case, he's not spending frivolously, he's spending wisely for the future. He's investing, not spending, not wasting.
Let me take this guy.
Such men are fantastic men to work with as a woman that likes spending. You just know that I'm broke, you go and meet your husband, I'm broke. But if you are the one spending...
Boss, are you there?
Hello.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Hello, this is Boss calling from United Kingdom.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Good to have you.
Yeah.
Like
can I just say that sometimes it's difficult for us to get you from here. So your number will not just be available. So we try to contribute sometimes.
Okay, we'll put it out.
I want to try to contribute to, the first topic you
go ahead,
please.
About.
I think it has to do with, I think employers asking applicant to get like a reference from their husband. Yeah, so I think I had a caller that said that if you are an employer and you try to employ somebody, I think if the law doesn't say don't do it, so I don't see the reason why an employer cannot choose to do things that he think is best for him or her. You know,
so it's employer's discretion.
So
okay.
If I employ somebody now, or there's a job there that needs somebody to work for me, so I can decide to just to say, okay, this is what I want. Okay. This is what suits me.
All
so
right.
I don't think it should be a problem unless it's against the law.
Fantastic.
So, and I think there's a second thing. I think maybe Tapa is saying about I think she made a statement that women work 10 times than men or something like that. So in Nigeria's situation, I don't think that's the case. So because I was in Nigeria, I left Nigeria in 2007. So, and when I was studying in Nigeria, so I remember then most of the girls, they do get jobs. They get their job. Most of the girls, my friend then, they do have job before a male graduate can have a job.
In a particular
If I
sector,
put it that way.
there's this sector.
So I do have a friend that many of them, they got a job in banking. And why guys cannot just get a job? Because, you know, if you serve in NYC, you know, even
that could be
as a
result of...
go there, if you are a female, if you are a female copper, you are a female...
That could be as a result of quite a number of factors.
Straight away. And the men are just...
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is that what causes issues between savings and not saving between partners is because they have not communicated effectively with one another.
Yeah.
If one person likes to save and you can effectively communicate why you like saving to the next person.
Let me share a story.
Can I just conclude in that for many years I've been saving and my husband had no idea even until now how much I had saved and how it was going to be useful until I now told him, this is what I've saved. This is our saving. This I was able to do because you allowed me the freedom to keep this money aside. And then he realized how much we have. And he said, this is from the other one. I said, yes. He said, wow. He's impressed. Yes. So it's about now, I was going about it the wrong way. I was always fighting him that you're spending too much without effectively letting him understand why we should save and the advantages of saving. So communication.
So for me to agree is open and full disclosure of the finances that are coming in, of what your bills are, and then what the sacrifices that you need to make. Because sometimes if you're not the biggest earner in the family, you don't really understand why, you know, you may just see money coming in, but you don't even, in your mind, you think there's a lot from where it's coming from. This must just be the top of it that we're chopping, not realizing, you know, maybe everything. So it's important to communicate. That communication opens your eyes, and then you draw up a budget. So, Auntie, you like to buy shoes, right? Okay. Try and do one shoe a month or in 2 months instead of the one that every time you just go shopping, you just buy. So you don't feel like they have held your hand, like, oh, I can't spend because, you know, I'm in a marriage.
We'll come to the issue of budget because I really like that. I love budgets. I work on a budget, strictly on a budget. Let me take this call from Yakub. Are you there?
Yes, I'm there. Good morning.
Morning, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes, I think I agree with Mr. Prophet. It is good for you to take it down with a man that's not saving. Why? Because if the man does not know to save, and then he always blow up the resources. If you dare assist your husband that, please let us save, the next thing that he will tell you that, I hold my money, I hold you as well. So how dare you telling me how to save my money? Because I work for the family, I can keep to spend the money. But if you marry a husband that loves to save, you will not be the one telling him that, why are you saving like this? You need money for this, you need money for that. And then the responsibility of that man is to spend the money when necessary. Even though some women will say, my husband is so stingy. Let him stingy for the rainy day. But if you dare say that, let's spend this money, you go to ShopRite today, you go to Babish tomorrow. But when you want to need this money, and then the money was not there, what is going to happen? So it is good to marry somebody that loves to.
Thank you very much, Jacob.
I wanted to give this example of communication and how it works. Sometimes person might not be communicating with you verbally. So in my own marriage, we are doing those verbal communications. It doesn't happen. Recently, we did a water treatment in the house. And the initial cause, because I just woke up one morning and they were digging. I was like, okay, you have started again. How much is this going to cost? I said, don't worry, maybe like $500,000. And when we're done, I saw that they were incurring more cost. Eventually, the thing skyrocketed beyond that. I was like, I didn't even foresee this cost and everything. We didn't have that communication, but I learned that thing from, I think it was Tokwe or who at the time, who used to say, let's trust the ending, the result. And now I have water that is drinkable from the tap in the house. I'm no longer complaining. So initially, let me know what is happening. Let me know what's happening was why we're always arguing.
In a similar example with Mike, my husband recently renovated our house. Left to me,
there was no need.
There was no need to renovate because I actually like what I saw. The only thing I could maybe change the upholstery on the couch. And you're fine. But my husband was insisting that no, we must renovate this house. And he was spending his money. For me, I'm like, take it easy now, doing this, doing that. Now, for me, I had an issue with that kind of spend. But months later, I appreciate the fact that, okay, the house looks nice. It looks warmer. It looks more interesting. He did serious partitioning and breaking down walls. And I'm wondering, this is not your house. This is another man's house. But if the landlord comes to our house now, he'll be so impressed with what my husband has done to the house because the house looks beautiful. So sometimes they spend, but that spending must be responsible. However, in a situation where you as a woman have demands. I mean, you had a lifestyle before you got married. Certain kind of shoes you used to wear, certain kind of bags. You liked that life. You liked the fine, pretty woman with the way that her skin is like a jatutu. Suddenly you now get married and now saying you're not giving her salary and take this amount of money. How is she going to keep up with how you met her?
No. She might be working, but
the point I'm trying to make is that the man must see when a woman is demanding that you spend on her or spend on family, there are reasons. Don't always assume, oh, she's a spendthrift, she's trying to be frivolous with my money. No, there are certain things that there's certain communication.
There was a time that we hit a roadblock last year and we didn't have money. And I just came back from the US and I was bawling, like I shopped and I came back and I realized we didn't have money and I was asking my husband that. I traveled. You saw me saying I was going to shop. You didn't say anything. Like I had no idea that I was going to come back and we'll be short on cash, like, because we didn't communicate it. So sometimes men need to put ego aside and let's deal with it. Put the cards on the table. Let it be clear that, okay, all I have is 100K and you seem to have 500K. I think that this is 500K, don't travel. Let's use this money to do ABCD part time. So that open communication is very important for couples to do. Let me take this call from peace.
Mercy. Are you there? Oh, I'm so sorry. I kept you on for too long.
I'm very stubborn. And when he tells, my husband knows I spend on my family. And when he tells me we have needs at home, I'm like, is it because it's my family? A lot of the times, I'm telling you, 90% of the times I don't listen. Because I understand how I'm going to tell my family or my parents to open their mouth down and be smoking breeze. So I'll go home and do what I need to do. A lot of the times I don't listen, and it's eventually when I now see the real picture that I've overburdened him for that month, I just walk around with guilt and I still be doing shoulder like it's fine. So I try not to, when it comes to extended family things, I don't interfere, and I'd rather don't let us interfere.
That's another place where issues happen.
Let me take this call from Abe, then I'll come to you, Mariam. Abe, are you there? Ade from the United Kingdom. Go ahead, please.
Ade. Yeah, I'm a great fan of Alhaja Nima. I want to ask a question regarding the first issue. If Nima got home today and the Oga said, Nima, I want you home full time and I want to wear burqa, don't work again, according to her faith, what will she say?
She will take it. As a Muslim woman, I have rights. Do you know that? So we've had the conversation. Thank you. We've already had it. And I'm going to simply ask for the salary that I project I'm worth in a few months. Once he can afford it, why not?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So we're talking
about
Burqa. I should cover my face.
Oh, gotcha.
But that's most unlikely, though. But to stay home and full time, I will do it.
Okay.
I'll just simply take.
Just pay me my worth. So if you're earning $1 million a month, husband better be ready to pay $1 million a month.
But you cannot tell me not to earn. And stay home, I won't obey that.
Gotcha.
But I can't open my mouth down.
Yeah, Mariam.
Okay, so for me, growing up, I grew up where we didn't have a lot. So, and in my marriage, it's very different from how I grew up. I have an opportunity to have a little more than I had when I was growing up. And when I do have, I don't spend it on me. For me, it's like, okay, somebody calls me from home. So that is where my money goes. Somebody calls me from, somebody needs something urgently. And I'm like, okay, I want to buy a new pair of shoes when something, that upsets my husband. He's like, you have asked for this particular thing. You don't have it and you've given it to someone. So I get fulfillment from that. But I'm learning recently, Tokwe and I, we've been talking about this certain book. And it shows that sometimes if you don't build yourself first, you will not be able to be strong enough to help the next person. So you're putting money like in a basket to fill it up, right? That's your aim. But there's always some need which seems really important. Like if you do not answer it right now, you won't have anything.
Let me take this call from Italy. Gatspa, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Yes, good morning.
How you doing?
I love the topic that you people are discussing this morning.
Thank you.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about? Because this topic about saving, that's what is affecting Nigeria today. Because in my family, I told my wife and my children that the easier you keep saving, the better your future. Because in a world of today that people keep spending, forgetting that tomorrow anything can happen, there will be no source of income, you get bankrupt and will start complaining. Because there is a book. Going to school in Nigeria today, they not prepare the citizens to be financially okay. Because all they do, you people are working, spending, without savings. And if you are working without savings, know that the day that your work stops, know that the financial problem that you get into is nothing to compare to what you have been spending to.
Yes.
It's nothing to compare to what you have been spending to.
Yes.
Because my advice to Nigeria today is that they should go, every student in Nigeria should go and look for a book, The Richest Man in Babylon, if you want to be financially.
They've already, trust me. Nigerians are very good. Many
No, they don't read.
Thank you very much. There's a story I'd like to end up
Please,
with.
I want you to share with us about budgeting so that somebody here can learn about it.
Okay, budgeting is something that I've actually imbibed. Again, when I was living in the States, my brother would send me certain amounts of money, and I always have to account to him how I spent it. So I kind of got used to budgeting. Now, for me, once I get my salary, I pay myself. Savings is automatic, the same amount every single month.
Do you pay
move
yourself
it.
before you tithe? Or do you
No,
tithe
I pay my tithe. Tithe is the first thing.
Okay.
I tithe, split it. I know the percentage I took from my savings, take it off. House money, I have. My own money, I have. And I don't spend outside it. Once, like, I mean, just last week, I got to ground zero. Like, I had no money. And I had, like, that the money I sent to myself was zero. I asked my husband, please, can I have some money? He gave me 100,000 naira. And that was what I was spending for the last 1 week I've been managing. He asked me yesterday, how much do you have yet? I said, I have 10,000 naira left. You spend anything? All the things I'm buying in the house. So I have 10,000 left from the money he has given to me. Now I'm waiting for salary, because I am not going to touch my savings because I don't have anything. So between now and whatever salary gets, I have just 10K that I'm spreading through. My house help told me the other day, Mommy, we have to buy pepper and spinach. I said, well, we'll use tomato paste at least until salary. So we will manage until I am not going to touch that savings because of anything.
There's something called
do we need to manage food too?
Of course.
Yes, now. There's
You'll be
something
all right.
called
Drinking Gary morning, night and evening is not going to kill you. Trust me, you'll be all right.
I've heard someone say that they had beans at home that they use in taking ogi. And that usually they do that every time. They do akara and ogi. And at the point, second Saturday of the month, they don't know how the beans finished. So it was time to eat ogi, and they didn't have beans for akara. And the woman was crying that this is suffering. And the pastor, you look at it, I said, your children will drink ogi.
They will be all right.
And next Saturday without akara, and they will survive. We will not touch our savings. We will not touch it because we are planning for the future. And what we don't eat today, we will eat in the future. And I think that we need to find that balance.
Savings, carry it.
There's also something that works.
Treasury bills. You won't touch it.
So have a bulk savings that you do monthly. What you buy this month can cover you for 3 months actually.
Yes, I need to start doing that.
Yes, so I do bulk shopping a lot. In fact, I give out food a lot. If I leave certain foods in my house, they will even spoil. So once I've done the shopping, I might not even expend it. Recently, I'm giving out chicken in my freezers because
Please, I want chicken.
I've already given out now.
Now see us looking at you like.
I need chicken.
Oh yeah, that chicken was nice.
That chicken was nice.
A wing.
Bulk shopping.
Anyways,
Bulk shopping.
unfortunately, we'll focus on budget at some point.
Yeah.
We'll break it down.
Practical step that not from professional.
That's all we can say.
What we're
Have
doing.
a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.